It was an invention that changed the world, moving people and goods at speeds and volume that would slingshot North America into an industrial and financial giant.
From the time a person first stepped foot on this planet until the 1830s, the fastest a person could go was as fast as a horse could gallop. And all of a sudden in the 1830s, you had this marvelous invention called the railroad. And now people could go 25 miles an hour.
The railroads played such a significant, almost unequaled role in the development of the country.
Today, the railroads that help build the world around us are slowly disappearing. Nearly 60% of all track laid in North America has been abandoned or torn up. For every mile of track scrapped, another link to our past is lost forever. The tourist railways and museums of North America have helped stop that trend, and today are the driving factor that helps save and preserve our rich railroad heritage.
We can never give up this heritage. We can never let it slide. We've got to make sure that we revere and remember these great historic projects.
What we hold on to for our culture defines on who we are or who we were. And holding on to the railways defines and keeps us in touch with where we came from.
I think that tourist railroads play an important role in the fabric of our society. Without the opportunity to ride these trains, I think we cut off a part of our heritage and our culture.
Our tourist railways and museums play a crucial role in preserving and presenting our deep railroad heritage. It takes a lot of hard work, dedicated people, money, and most of all, passionate owners and operators willing to invest the needed resources to keep our railroad history alive for everyone to enjoy.
I think that it's wonderful that we've had the opportunity to bring this train back. I mean, it was an absolute disrepair and no monies or efforts were put back into keeping the equipment going. And we've been fortunate enough to put a lot of money back into restoration, and it's essential to keep this going.
There was nothing to me more exciting than the sound of a logging locomotive pulling about 20 empties up a 4.5% grade at 6:30 in the morning with throttle wide open and rumbling and rattling and the whistle echoing off the hills. It was a beautiful sound and an exciting sound that never left me. If I had to answer a question of why do you do it, the answer would be because if I don't, nobody else will.
A typical steam engine has 3,000 moving parts. I always wonder how the first guy ever sat down and said, I'm going to put 3,000 little pieces together and make them all work together. It's not easy, but it's magical. And when you see a steam engine and you're standing there on the platform and that steam engine pulls up and all these parts are all moving in harmony, and you think, that's magic, that's alive, that's real. There's nothing like a steam engine. And that's what makes it worthwhile to me, to spend the money and to take the risk to keep these steam engines going.
For many in our industry, steam engines invoke a passion unparalleled to any other man-made object. It's a life form that's almost human to some, not only in mechanics, but also in personalities.
A steam locomotive is the closest thing that man has ever made to a living, breathing being, an entity, you know. It drinks, it eats, it has to get rid of ash, you know. Really, so when you stop and think about it, you know, it does all the things that we do. Plus, it has a mind of its own. Some days, everything is great, runs smooth, other days, temperamental.
They each have their own personalities, their own quirks, and every day, every trip can be a different personality quirk. And granted, they're just machines, but most of us like to think of them as ladies, and they can be little contrary people when they want to be.
Why do we run steam? Steam engines are the most cantankerous, ornery, obstinate beasts that ever came down the pike. And there are times when a diesel seems like a really good idea. But at the end of the day, a diesel locomotive does not have a soul like steam locomotive.
One of the big draws is the sheer size, the immensity, and the living, breathing animal that a steam engine becomes. It's almost like it's an iron horse, and it has life to it. And when Grandpa can bring his grandkids up, and he can talk about what it may have been like back after the Second World War with the last of the iron horses running before the diesels came, it's just something that connects the generations.
A steam locomotive almost seems to be alive, to have its own personality. It's got all its moving parts out where you can see them. It's hissing, the steam coming out, the sounds. It's all out there to see. It's all out there to experience. And so it really seems to come alive.
Some folks may get personally attached to a steam engine and sometimes like to claim it for themselves and make it a part of their immediate family.
The locomotive came here when I was 1 year old. I sort of adopted it as my locomotive. Take a look at it. It's a thing of beauty. It's gorgeous. It's a princess.
There's a thrill in watching one of these things take its first steps out of the engine house. It's almost like watching your kid take his first steps. It's a feeling like you'll never get anywhere else.
It takes a lot of skilled workers to bring our railroad history alive.
That's technology that was put on the shelf basically in 1950, and now you're pulling that technology back off that shelf, and you're using a lot of the techniques that they use, a lot of the tricks that they use to get the machine to come back to life the same way that they did it.
The people that refurbish these locomotives, these steam engines, are doing a wonderful job, so that these little kids you see walking around here can enjoy the history that the old-timers did.
Many of the old-timers that used to work on steam engines are slowly fading away.
We just got to keep the dream alive. We need to encourage the youth to come up and participate in this. There's an old saying in the steam fraternity that's each one teach one. And I think that's what it's all about. Get the new people up here, get the youth excited, get them participating in it, and maybe fulfill some dreams in the process.
For the ones who do get involved is a new world of opportunities and promise.
It's working with history. Where else in the world could a 20-year-old kid like myself have an opportunity to work with a piece of equipment from 1923 with folks that did it for over 50 years? I mean, the knowledge that I'm getting, most people in their lives would dream about.
Just getting the opportunity to be up close with one and being able to take care of one and to help maintain one, it just feels really special. Just to be around these machines, that it just inspires so much romanticism and inspiration and imagination around them. So just being able to do that, I was just kind of like, oh yeah, I totally would love to come and volunteer and be close to something that I've admired for so long.
Our tourist railways and museums offer up much more than just a train ride or a walk through a museum full of artifacts and equipment. They're a way to get up close and personal and let your senses come alive as you see, hear, smell, touch, and even taste our past. It's a history lesson like no other.
Well, I'm a history major, so for me it was really significant. Just to know that you're touching, feeling, smelling, experiencing what people felt 100 years ago, puts you back there and makes you feel as if you're one of them.
Here, you're looking at it, it's alive, and it really brings to mind what it was like stepping back in time, and it really drives home the point more than just looking at it.
The future of our tourist railways and museums is looking strong, thanks to the dedication and passion of everyone who works and volunteers in this special industry.
I think as a group, I think we all have the desire to see old things come back to life, and it's definitely a big thing when one of these rolls out. I don't think it's going to ever be something that's lost. As long as there's a steam engine and a kid in the same room, there'll be a love for railroads and short lines and steam engines.
I think it's very important that we preserve our heritage. People went to so much trouble to make this for us, and I think it's real important that we honor their memory and the history that we have here, and that children for many generations will be able to come and experience things that their ancestors rode on for years.
This is a lost part of America. Companies like this and organizations like this to keep the rails running, restore these old trains is really something.
It's part of us. We give up everything else in life just to make sure this thing runs and people can enjoy it.
Today, our tourist railway and museums spark our imagination and remind us of our deep pioneering heritage. They're a platform to educate and enlighten, enrich and foster. But most of all, they're here to preserve and present the legacy of our railroads and the spirit of the people that built and operated them.